Thank you for joining us today. I hope you can hear me well and you can also see the screen properly. If this is not the case, please let us know, but I'm going to assume with no reaction that everything's fine. Okay. Um, I'm Benoit. I'm going to be your host today. I'm the head of growth for Kantree, and I'm going to walk you through this presentation today, whereby we're going to actually go through Kantree 10, which is a new release of Kantree. It's not going to be a full product demo tour. We're really going to focus on Kantree 10 and whatever new we're bringing in terms of new features. Having said that, if you have any questions, of course, feel free to use the chat. We'll make sure that by the end of this short presentation, we'll have some time to answer any questions you may have. And if you want to have like a full product demo, do not hesitate to let us know as well through the chat. We'll get back to you. Bruno, our head of sales, is part of the call as well too. And they will be more than happy to actually get back to you to arrange something if necessary. All right. So let's jump and go straight ahead. We're going to go to Kantree 10 right away. So now, basically on my screen, you can see the new interface and the new look of Kantree 10. Kantree 10 has been put on production to the cloud about 2 weeks ago. And I wanted to actually spend some time on basically the interface here in order to show you what's new in terms of navigation and in terms of interface. The first thing you can notice basically on the left is a brand new sidebar for navigation purposes. This particular sidebar is going to help you, and we hope all our customers, to navigate through Workspaces, which is a new term for projects, very easily and very quickly. We have someone who wants to actually join us. Here we go. So I was just starting, so we can go ahead. So we have this new sidebar, which is basically brand new within Kantree, which is on the left, where you can have direct access to all your workspaces and all your team management. You have also access to multiple buttons and multiple icons in order to basically, again, have a direct access to multiple features of Kantree. We will walk you through the inbox, which is one of the main features as well that Kantree 10 is introducing, but you have direct access to the inbox from the sidebar. You can also have access to your favorite workspaces, to the most recently open dashboards. We'll talk about dashboards as well too a bit later on. Your organization page, which is this particular page that you have in front of you right now, where you can see basically your favorite workspaces, all those workspaces that you've been joining, and also a snapshot from the libraries, template library, and a couple of other buttons that I will walk you through slightly later. But let's start first with basically the top of the page. You have now the logo. You used to have one in Kantree 9, but now you can definitely have access to this particular logo. You can change it to whatever you want. You can also change the color of the banner if you wish to do so. Very easily, from one click, you can actually customize basically your home page very easily. Now I'd like to attract your attention to basically the right side of the screen, where you have a list of all the teams. The teams here are basically a shortcut to multiple workspaces being classified and ordered by team. So you have basically a list of teams here, and you can add a team very quickly. To add a team, just basically press and click on Add Team. And when you do so, you can create any team you like. Just specify, for example, a name. You can specify the color. You can put it in red. And you can specify an icon as well too, anything you like, in order to create a team. And automatically, you'll be redirected to a new team within your organization, which is, for that matter, called Kantree Demo. From there, it's very easy to navigate. You can either go back to Kantree Demo, or you can, which you can see basically again on the sidebar on the left, you can directly jump, for example, to your new team, my team, from there, and you can navigate through all the different teams that you have from with just one click. So if we go back to my team, from there, Again, you can add new workspaces. We'll get to that part very quickly. But you can also basically add new members to your new team. It's very easy to add like a few people. Used to be done like this before as well. You have access, obviously, to your team settings, where you can add a note if you want to. It's going to appear on the side. You can change the color, change the icon, you can delete it if you wish to, but everything is possible. So once you have a team, and you can navigate through all those teams very quickly and very easily, you can invite members. And again, when you have new members, because you can also from there manage your members, it's very easy also to define roles as it used to be before. For example, if we have someone being called a user, you can definitely switch and being called a manager, and that's going to change basically whatever this particular person has access to. Okay, so the roles are manageable directly from here, directly from the little button here for the settings of your team. Right. So if we go back to my team over there, as you can see, all the navigation has been redesigned. And if we go back to that particular org page, which is your home page, you can see the new My Team here, the new avatars basically from the people that you've been adding to your team, and the little icon on the side here. If you want to change again the icon here, it's very easy. You can do so from here, and you can change the color as well. Very easy, very straightforward. So we've been changing basically this whole navigation to make sure that you can actually go from one part to the other part very quickly, very easy. Now, still on the home page, I'd like to show you a few things as well. We also added a few links, a few shortcuts to make things easier. So from now on, directly from the home page, just below basically on the right, the column where you have all the teams, you have also access to the Help Center, the product update, and also you can also leave us a review. So the product update basically is going to get you switch, if I click here, directly to, I'm going to share this tab instead, to our blog, where you can see basically our latest articles and our latest blog entries. For example, this particular one, which is the first one, which is about Kantree 10, when you have a list of all the features that we're going to talk about today. Now, going back to my particular home page, you can also leave us a review on Capterra or some other place if you want to do so, and we'll be more than happy to get the reviews. Definitely, I'll show you maybe the page if you want to as well too. There we go. So that's pretty easy directly from there. And access obviously to the Hub Center, which pretty straightforward. Again, if you do need access to the Hub, you know, to consult some entries for performing a few actions. You have access to the Hub directly from the left as well, just above at the bottom of the sidebar, above basically your avatar, where you have access to your accounts, the account settings, which has been again slightly redesigned for you to have an easy access to change the appearance as well of your for your system. If you want to move to a dark theme, it's definitely possible as well too. So if we move back to your organization page, you can see that things have changed in the sidebar now is actually black. I'll move back to the appearance, sorry, the appearance here by default, keep it green, and we go back here. Now, I'd like to spend a little bit of time on what we call the inbox, because this is basically the first icon that we have on top here. The inbox, which is one of the main features that has been introduced as well, part of Kantree 10, is basically a stream of activity that you have on all your cards. Anything happening on your cards, whether you move one card or you add a new field, or you basically have a new comment on this card, the card that you've been assigned to, you will see the activity going on basically in this stream here. So the thing is, you can definitely select a particular card from that particular stream in order to respond if you want to see a comment or to basically consult your card. But what you can do, which is the main thing basically on this particular stream, is that you can comment and you can respond to particular comments directly from there. So if you want to put response to comment, it's definitely something you can do directly from the inbox. So the inbox is a way to have access to all your tasks being listed. Sorry, mouse is acting up a little. And you have access to your calendar, and you can actually, again, see all the different items that are being here for you, where you can actually interact with your colleagues or your teammates in order to work on your particular workspaces or projects. So the inbox is actually very powerful. Here, I don't have any activity per se, but you would have on the side, on the left, definitely an icon with a number of unread activities that you haven't checked. And it will be definitely highlighted on the top for you to have a direct access to whatever activity for you to pay attention to. Now, apart from the inbox, I'd like to show you, and we'll maybe go back a little bit later to this one, but I'd like to show you something that we call workspaces. Workspace is what we used to call a project, but now we're calling it workspace mainly because there is an inbox as well too, and we're planning some more features soon in order to enrich basically a typical project. So a workspace is something you can have definitely directly from your sidebar and also directly from a team. If you look, for example, for a specific team, I'll take this one, you can add definitely a new workspace from the sidebar, or once you're in a team, you can actually do so from by clicking on new workspace. So just now, when we were in the Kantree organization, we created a team called My Team, which is a new team. So what we can do is that we can add, for example, just a new workspace. So the new workspace is directing you directly to the new template library. Not that new in a sense that it did exist before, but the template library has been designed in order for you guys to actually go through multiple categories and have access to multiple templates which are ready-made. You could also create a workspace from scratch in order to create either a Kanban board, list, table. You can also import directly from a spreadsheet. You can also import directly from other apps if you wish to do so. But you can create, for example, if we do create a new Kanban flow directly using a template, we can do so from there. If you want to select something else, just go back. But if we use templates, I can create, for example, my Kanban workflow. I can change the location of the particular project, but since we're in this new team, we're going to assume that exactly where it should stand. We can change the visibility, and you can select the colors that you wish to use. So we're going to, for example, use something like black, or let's say yellow, it's the color of the team, and we're going to create it. And here you go. We have now the new workspace, which is using the template, which is actually live, and we can already start playing with it. And you can see it again, part of your new team, which is called here. It's actually present here on the left directly. We can switch back to the team, and you can see it directly from here. So you can navigate now very easily through by the using, for example, the recently opened list. You can again go back there. And you can also directly access it from the side by clicking directly on it. But since we're already on it, it's not going to change much. So it's very easy now to add a workspace. For sure, this template library is more for new users to discover Kantree in order to add like create new workspaces using existing templates being ready-made for them. But at any time, it's possible to actually, again, create a new workspace and go back to that particular view where you can actually add any workspace that you like. Okay. Now, one thing, as I was mentioning, if I go back to my team, if you wish to actually move that particular new workspace that you created to another place, it's definitely something we can do. Either directly from this particular icon with the three dots, where we go to the workspace setting. And if you want to move that project and say, okay, I'm not too sure this new workspace, my Kanban workflow belongs to my team, but belongs to another one, it's always possible directly from this particular menu to actually select a new team. I could, for example, put it to Kantree 10 demo. And if we do so, and if we move it there, automatically disappear from that particular team, and it will appear in Kantree 10 demo. There we go. We have my Kanban workflow automatically in that particular team called Kantree 10 demo. So that's how you can move very easily as well one particular workspace from one team to another team, back and forth, as long, anytime you want. Now, a project can also be found directly from the search. The search menu here, with a little this particular icon, allows you to actually, with this particular window, to move and to search for a specific project across your organization. For example, my Kanban workflow has been created here and can be found. We also have some suggested searches being proposed in case you were looking for some cards being assigned to yourself, overdue cards, or just cards being assigned to you. Then you can find some workspaces that have been opened recently, or you can just type anything else. For example, if demo had not been opened very recently, by typing demo, I would have a list of all the demos automatically, live, being available for me to actually click. So I could click on one and actually go there directly. So the search is another powerful way as well to move through your organization in order to have access to multiple, I'm looking again for my original project. There we go. To move around Kantree in order to access the workspace you're looking for. Now, any workspace obviously can be customized. That is not something very new in a sense, but just maybe to walk you through a few things that we've been adding to make your life easier. I'll take an existing example that I have called my workflow, which I created a little bit before this demo, where you can add pictures that you're aware of it. You can customize your columns and colors and icons. Nothing too new on this one. But something that you have is that you can definitely now directly from the menu, basically associate a new state, for example, in terms of workflows to that particular group. And if you add a new column, let's say, for example, new status, nothing comes to mind yet. Here directly from the three dots, we could definitely create something and say, okay, that's going to be for closed cards, for example. And again, if you want to have more styles, in order to put it, let's say, in red, if you want to have an icon or descriptions, it's definitely something that you can do from there. But the point is, directly from here, you can actually define a specific state, and we'll find it back maybe a bit later, to your list or to your group of cards. Okay. Now, as usual, very easy to move one card from one column to another column. That's not very different from Kantree 9. It's still the same, obviously. Now, I'd like to maybe spend a little of time on views, because we've been making quite a few improvements as well on that particular front. Before in Kantree 9, you used to be able to go through the list at the top, where you could list, for example, you could select the type of view you're looking for in order to make a new view based on that particular view. We have right now a Kanban board. If we wanted to have a table view, it's definitely something we could do directly from there. You can still do so. And you have, first thing which is new, a new button, let's say a new flag telling you at the bottom at the same time, which is telling you that basically this particular new view is actually unsaved. You have a reminder as well on the left side with that particular star icon showing you that you have unsaved changes. So it's just to make sure that whenever you're working on a new view, you're not going to accidentally lose any changes you made. From there, by clicking on it, you can overwrite directly all the changes you made using the same name, which is Kanban board, but since this is a table, might be something different, or you can save it as a new private view or as a new public view. Let's do that. We can save it as a new private view, and then we have Kanban board. From there, we can obviously change the title. It should be called a new table, actually, instead of Kanban. That would be easier, sorry. And here you go. So far, not too much not too many differences, except that you have this particular new button here that is basically helping you to, have the unsaved view thing reminder. But now, if we do actually discard those changes, I want to show you something slightly different. Let's go back to the Kanban board. We added here in the project bar one new button called Add View. It's actually available under the Shared View block and under the Private View blocks. It's called Add View, and Add View is going to give you access to not only Kanban, list, table, calendar, and timeline, but also to the dashboard. We'll get to that a little bit later. To the new journal, to the log, to the form. I'll spend a few minutes as well on the form since we made a few changes there as well too, and to some new files as well too. You have also some pre-configured suggestions. For example, again, cards you've been assigned to, activities from last week, workload, whatever. But here we've listed a few which we thought might be relevant. So from the Add View, we could do exactly the same thing, and we could create a table directly from there. And the table actually is already created automatically under your private view block. So it's a shortcut to make it easier, straightforward, to actually get access to multiple views and create your views there. The top of the page now is more about filtering, about creating something maybe a bit more personalized once you're actually working on a specific view. But the Add View button is here to make your life easier, and again to get direct access and create views very easily. So let's take a quick example. For example, if I want to create a form, because we have new things here to say as well. If I wanted to create a form, now a form is going to become a view on its own, right? So let's say I want to create a new form. It's called My Form. I can add some text, obviously. Just put text, not very imaginative this morning, but you can change the color if you want. Let's say to put it green, Kantree is in green, automatically the save button is going to be in green as well too. And you can add as well and show, which is something that we used to have, but we've been redesigning a little bit the interface to make it a little bit nicer as well too. You can definitely find, for example, multiple things, to create, and your workflow. For example, if we look at status, here we go, the new status that, it's not the same project, sorry, but I wanted to find back the closed one that I created earlier on another project. But definitely you can have all your status here if you want to do so. You can also add, for example, a heading without using a card in order to create your template. You could, for example, add text content, and you could add, of course, a specific field in your card in order to link it to it. So we could say, for example, test. We could put title, this is test. All the options below are more or less still exactly the same as before. We try to make them a little bit more easier to find and to fill. And once you save that, you end up with a particular form with your color, with everything. And again, you have it as My Form as a view on the side here. And if you want to create another form with the Add View, it's something that you can do. And you're going to create another form, which is going to be listed here on the side as well. Okay, so the new form designer view has been slightly redesigned to make it easier to create a form, to create beautiful forms, and I'm sure you can find lots of use for it. Now, maybe we can move on a little bit to dashboard. Since we have multiple capabilities in terms of dashboard. Dashboarding, as I was mentioning slightly at the beginning, very quickly though, you can create dashboards directly from the main sidebar on the side. Maybe I should move back to the org page, organization page. So from the side here, you have basically access to all your dashboards, and we can create a new one directly from there. What we could do here, used to be before, is create, for example, something very simple. We're going to select multiple workspaces, and we can create multiple. I'm going to go for, sorry, Workspaces, simple. Voilà. And you can create, for example, a simple dashboard, very basic, I know, where you have basically a list of consolidation or a view on 4 existing workspaces. And you can do that very quickly in just a few clicks. Again, you can save that, the same principle as before, as a view. I'm going to save it as dashboard 1 view. It's directly available from here. And we can create any dash views, any number of dash views that we want. Very easily the same way, whether it's for a single project, maybe we should actually do that. Let's go back to Kanban workflow, or let's take particularly this one, which has a little bit more things in terms of a bit more appealing. And if we wanted to create a dashboard here, it's something we could do, for example, directly, again, from here. And we could, for example, put a specific workload. I don't know if I have enough data to do so, but why not? There we go. Yeah, to generate something at least. So dashboards could be done across workspaces, but also for a specific project as well. And you can also always change the way things look and redesign the overall dashboard through the dashboard editing tool, to customize it and make it the way you want. Now, one last thing that I really want to spend some time on, which is a new addition as well to the card, is the formula editor. For that, I'm going to move back to that particular view. I'm going to take a card, for example, task 2, and we're going to talk about formula. Formula is something that did exist part of Kantree 9, but it was not that easy sometimes to actually come up with a formula. So what we did is, I'm going to show you by creating a new formula field here. Let's call it new formula. Oops, sorry. Now we have what we call a formula editor. It's an amazing new thing, which I believe is going to be tremendously helpful. With this formula editor, you have direct access to all the variables that are available for you to actually select, with a short explanation on how to actually use them, as you can see between curly braces. And you have access as well to a list of functions that you can actually use. And again, with a short description on how to use that particular function to create a formula. So, same for if statement, if you want to count the number of working days between the start date, the end date, if you want to concatenate multiple values, it's multiple things you can do. So let's take a short example. If we want to count the number of working days, let's say before the due date, which is actually on the left side of the card, you can just click on it. And automatically, the formula field at the top of the formula editor is going to be filled up with the correct expression. And now you know, by just looking at this particular formula editor and the help that we have, that we need to actually put down the start date and the end date. Start date could be time as of today. We have a function for that, it's called now. So we can actually click here, select, press now. As you can see here, my formula is not complete, but it's going to turn red, indicating to me that I have a syntax error. It's very simple. It's because I don't have actually the due date. But the due date, the syntax I have it is actually here, due date. So I can just type due date, and automatically it's going to turn gray, and it's going to give me access and give me actually a snapshot of the actual result. Just need to save it, and here we go. We have the result. And if we change, that is something used to work before as well, but if we change, let's say the date 1, obviously it's going to be updated. So it's the same thing as before, same capabilities, the same power of the Kantree query language to create formulas, anything you like, but with the help of this editor, We believe it's going to be much easier to actually come up with new formulas and avoid a lot of trials and errors, working back and forth, checking for mistakes and syntax errors. So it's going to bring a lot of new possibilities in a sense to Kantree. One thing we've been improving a little bit is, which is just below, is the card relationship. It's slightly easier now to actually browse through your teams. For example, if we go through, well, take the first one, demo test. And if you want to add a relationship to a particular card, it's very easy to actually add one and fill up this field in order to have an access, that's the one I selected on top, and to create a relationship between that particular card and this one. Okay, so browsing is easy to go through. Now, one thing I didn't mention, sorry about that, but I'll get back to this particular part here if we move back to the organization page. Actually, a few things. First one is the fact that here we have one organization and multiple teams with workspaces belonging to each one. Obviously, if you want to create, put a project in favorites, you can just click on the icon here and automatically, little star, sorry, your workspace is going to be part of your favorites. And again, you can navigate from the icon over there on top if you want to, but you can also have a direct access from there. What you can do as well too is, obviously you have access to that through the workspace setting. You can also remove it directly from that particular tile if you want to remove it. It's as easy as that. One thing I didn't mention as well is the fact that here we have obviously one organization, but you could have, and that's the case for some of you, multiple organizations. What you can do for that is to switch from one organization to another organization. And by doing so, you have also access to, you can see the personal workspaces if that particular feature has been enabled in your overall organization. But what you could do if you have multiple organizations is to see them all at once. If you do so, if you select that option, you won't see the teams on the system bar on the left. What you would see is multiple icons, each one representing a specific organization. And from there, you have access to multiple workspaces, like the one you're a member of, like the one you're working on with. Like typically are the workspaces that I'm actually a member of, and I have direct access without the team from that particular icon. Now, what you can do as well is click on this particular option at the bottom, which is focus on this organization. And if you do so, it's basically giving you back exactly the same view that we had just now, because you're going to focus on that particular organization and get a view of that organization and nothing else. But if you want to go back to another organization, again, from there, you can switch. You can directly select another organization, or you can view them all at once and basically refocus on that new organization if you want to. You create a new one, of course, if you want to. There's no change to that. Right. One thing as well too that I forgot, which is important, as I was mentioning at the beginning here, because it's part of the new interface, this new org page or home page, where you can find basically the whole navigation with all your workspaces and your teams, whether it's on the left or on the sidebar. You have the inbox. But the inbox as well, there is a small option here, which is, I agree, maybe not too easy to find, but you can actually use the inbox as your home if you want to do so. So if you do that, when you click on the top left icon here, which is the Kantree icon, you would basically go, maybe I should actually take an example. Let's go to the org page. And if you click on the top, you have direct access to your inbox, where you can find any activity going on with the cards you're actually following, or whether you subscribe to them, or whether there is any activity going on with those particular cards. So that's, again, I mean, it's something you can deactivate as well anytime. But another small customization in order to make sure that basically you can do whatever you want with your home page. It's something you can customize to your liking in order to really do something different and get your the page you like, basically. So here we go. I think I'm pretty much done. We are on schedule. So if you have any questions, maybe I should basically look at the chat that Paula is actually looking at, and I'm going to actually read through and see whether you have already some questions that I can actually answer. Let me give me a couple of minutes. So I have a first question. Is it possible to change the link behind the Help Center button? The Help Center button is the one, I guess, you on the left, right? When we're talking about this particular, my mouse, this particular one, right? No, this one is actually a static link, which redirects straight to Kantree's help, basically. You would definitely arrive. Let me actually show you. You will arrive as typically Kantree help, where you have the feature, where you have an FAQ, where you have all the guides as well too. That's where you will definitely arrive if you click on that particular link. So no, it's not something we can actually change. Sorry about that. Any other question? Oh, a question about features that were in Kantree 9 that are not available in Kantree 10? No. We have, I mean, in terms of features, anything you had before in Kantree 9 is still available in Kantree 10. There is a lot of work that has been going on in terms of interface, as you can see. Again, to make sure that you can definitely have access to your workspaces, your work overall, very quickly, very easily. Navigate through it very, very easily. I mean, that's really the key word. The inbox is clearly a key addition. Things like the formula editor is also a key addition. One small thing for sure, I didn't go through that in details, and I forgot actually, that's a good reminder. If you, for example, go to a table view, let's take, for example, my Kanban workflow that we just created. If you create, for example, with the head view table, I don't have enough. Well, I don't have enough data, but the thing is, over there now, you can actually sort ascending, descending your columns. That's something you can do, which was not the case in Kantree 9. But there's no features, any feature, I mean, there's no feature that has been eliminated really. So all the features that you add and you could enjoy in Kantree 9 are still available in Kantree 10. We're just trying to make them better and to make them look nicer for you to use them in a better way somehow. That's the main thing, really. Another question, so to change the banner color of the homepage. Yes, basically what you could do is directly from here, if you click on the logo of Kantree Demo, but you can put any logo you want. From there, you can actually change the logo, you can delete it if you want to. Let's do that. You have a default logo that is actually there. You can select an image as well here, and you can automatically change by selecting another color from there. We'll do it again. I can put it in red, for example. You can also select any kind of color you want. Let's do something maybe nice. I'll put it in green. There we go. Something slightly bluish if you want. Purple. So I hope that answered your question, but it's definitely something you can do very easily directly from there. If you want to, you can also interact from the organization settings page. There is, again, access to your logo. Your team color can be there as well too, where you can make a slight change as well to the overall organization page. This one, for example, is going to override a little bit. As you can see, it's changing my sidebar. But if you want to keep the system one, it's here. That's really for the organization settings, which is just for the administrator. Otherwise, you have access as well to the manage feature item, which I didn't talk about much, but which is actually the top of the page. It's a good reminder, actually. I should have spent maybe a little bit more time on this one. For example, here, I decided to have a Kanban workflow that is part of my favorites being listed here. So this is something, maybe I'll show you. I'm going to add another one. Let's say, for example, I have demo my Kanban workflow. Here we go. We can do that from here. If I select it from the workspace settings, I could also feature it on the organization page. Okay. So if I go back to the home page, I would find it with a direct link here. And you can add multiple things from there. So that's another way of customizing basically your organization page in order to make it look the way you want. Obviously, those are more for the organization. So it's more to the administrator of the organization to actually set up those, because that's more on the organization level, to get like direct access shortcuts for things which are relevant at the organization level. I hope that answers your question on how we can customize basically this page and what we could do. Let me see. Any other questions? Sorting tables. Multiple columns or just one? You can sort multiple columns. Good question. To me, you can sort every column. Anyone? Let me go back to one specific case. Maybe I should try to find this particular project if I have at least a little bit of data. Let's take a table here. There we go. No, not much data, but a little bit. For example, the formula here, we can start descending. So it's going to be done on that particular thing. As far as I know, you can actually do it on one particular column. It's not going to be done on multiple columns, but I need to check on this one because I'm not too sure. So I'll get back to you on this one. Really, because I'd like to verify that we could actually sort two questions, maybe two columns at the same time. Will there be more templates added to template library in the future? Yes, definitely. We're working on that. I can maybe show you a bit more the template library. So when you add a new workspace, you have access to all those things. I didn't actually walk you through the multiple categories, but per category here, you have multiple templates which are existing here for employee onboarding, for example. You have, if you go back, marketing templates. We have startup templates, which we think might be relevant, software development for sales as well. So yes, we're going to add more templates in the near future. And clearly, yes, more than yes, actually. And that's what I'm saying. Yes, if you need specific templates, feel free, definitely, she's right to let us know. We would definitely work on those, and if you have any inputs, we'll be more than happy to actually work with you guys to create some templates and feature them. In terms of performances, actually, yes. Good point. I take them for granted, but no, I should not. It's hard to actually maybe, although I can visualize them, because when I experience them, I actually realize that yes, it was much faster. Now, when you walk from one team to another, it's actually pretty fast. When you move from one project, still saying project, sorry about that, one workspace to another, usually, I mean, I find it's much faster because we've been working on the loading time. We've been working on a few things as well internally, to speed it up. So yes, you should experience something faster, definitely. Yes. In terms of performances, when you move from one thing to another, usually it's, I think, quicker than it used to be. And I'm using, mind you, the video as well. So I guess uh, it could be much faster as well if you're not actually having your yes, exactly, not really using in a video conference. So the system is actually pretty loaded right now to share my screen, and it's much faster. We're actually working on your own Kantree interface yourself. So yes, we do have a performance improvement. Is there any other questions? So did I answer actually all of your questions, guys? Is there anything that I've been missing? Because I've been going quite quickly through the chat, but just want to make sure that there's no question left. And if I don't have the
This is Paula. I can tell you that there is a question about a chat support feature for existing users.
Chat feature meaning. Oh. Okay, I see it now. Maybe. That's something we were thinking about, yes. But we won't talk much about such thing right now because we're really focusing on Kantree 10 and on whatever was part of that particular release. That would be part of more of a roadmap. And actually, I encourage you to have a look at our roadmap, which is public, directly from our website. You have basically access to a public roadmap. Maybe I can show you. Hold on. From there up. Let's see. I'm going to actually access to it, and then we'll share my screen. All right, here we go. So this is our public roadmap. As you can see, it's available directly from our website. There is a link at the bottom of the page, which is called roadmap, as far as you can tell. I'm pretty sure it is. And you can find basically the list of everything we're working on, everything that's been released, things we're talking about. If you have any input, feel free to actually use that particular page to give us your feedback. We're always happy to get feedback, to know what you think, what you would like to do with Kantree. And even more myself, as a new head of growth for Kantree, I'm interested in any customer feedback, any feedback at all, to try to improve Kantree, try to make sure we take into account what you think. That's always interesting, no matter what. And by putting everything together, we can actually define, I guess, a better software, which is useful for everybody else. So, yeah, that's about it. Any other questions or any other things that I have, again, maybe not answered? No? Okay, I'm trying to think we have a few minutes left. So I'm thinking, is there anything you want us, maybe we could show you, or something you want us to walk you through? Oh, what's next in terms of release? Well, there's a continuous, whatever we have, new features, to SaaS, on the cloud, and as using a software as a service technology, we do release, I would say, small feature, not so small, from time to time on a very regular basis. to improve Kantree overall. And we may have for sure another big release, or at least a consequent release later, maybe this year. No date yet, but we will definitely let all of you guys know. We did start, for example, the beta program for some users as well earlier for that particular Kantree 10 release. That's something we'll definitely reconduct for the next big release that we're going to come up with. And clearly, that's something we value a lot as well, because there's tons of feedback we can get during that particular process. And yes, there would be some new features that we're working on. I guess right now, I don't want to talk too much about the next release, because we're just out of Kantree 10, and we're right now looking at making Kantree 10 even better than it looks. By improving it a little and working on a few things. But yes, if you look at the roadmap, there are a few things that are part of the plan. And we're working on a few things, yes. We'll get back to that later. I promise you, very quickly. Is there any other things as well too? I haven't responded. No. Well, 12:56, pretty much on time. Just for me to take. Let me think. Yes, there was one thing I forgot actually, and I thought I could actually tell you, but it just went off my mind. Nope, lost it. Yeah, file views. File views, maybe. I went through the add view actually, and I didn't talk about it. This is something brand new as well that we didn't put in our, how to say, in our release notes. That's something we just added very recently. But let me take, for example, the roadmap here, which is just out of a template. I believe we have a couple of files here. I hope it's files and not link. And if you had, click, yeah, here we go. So now you have a file view, and the file view is actually going to list some pictures, some files that you've been actually uploaded, that you've been uploading into your workspace. So that's brand new. Not even, as I was saying, part of the release notes, but clearly something you can work on. There we go. One last thing for the end, for the last few minutes that you can work with. But file view, which is brand new, really brand new. Apart from that, I guess I'm pretty much done. So unless you have any other questions, I guess we can call it a day. I again thank you, all of you, for being with us today. It was really a pleasure. Hope you found that interesting. And if you have any comment, feedback, questions, or anything, again, feel free to reach us anytime. We always here to listen to whatever you have to say, and it's always interesting, very interesting for all of us. So thank you very much. I wish you a very good day, and hopefully we'll see you again soon. Bye bye.